Hey, my name is PolishLynx. We continue the easy. We continue. God damn it. We continue the irae today. What a beginning, what a beginning. Anywho, after the nightmare, obviously waking up, let's see how Ren will react. Okay. I trotted out of bed, only to find that it was already light outside. I immediately reached for my neck. It was, of course, still attached to the rest of my body. Well, maybe not really just. I have a feeling it might have something hidden there. You should check in the mirror if you don't have the scar, actually. I slumped down. Dream or not, that experience was no laughing matter. It was just in bad taste. And above all else... What are you doing here? I wasn't very happy about the fact that Kasumi, who snuck into my room like this on a daily basis, had just seen the whole thing. Well, she didn't see the nightmare, but... I wouldn't have been released from the hospital if I hadn't made a full recovery, so this dream had nothing to do with my injuries. It was nice that Kasumi was so worried about me, but if I didn't make things clear, now she'd end up driving us both to ruin. Yeah. Kasumi gave me an exaggerated glance, shaking the kitchen knife she had brought from her room back and forth. No wonder I had a nightmare. Who wouldn't if there was a crazy person holding a knife staring at them while they were asleep? At least, that was what I tried to tell myself. What was she going on about? I began to seriously consider wrapping her in a blanket and throwing her out the window. That's not true, of course. Go ahead. I have nothing against that. Kasumi headed off into the kitchen, still waving the dang knife around. I wanted to look into closing up the hole in the wall. That said, her morning antics had done a good job of helping me forget about the terrible dream. You think she wouldn't do a new hole in the wall? I was grateful for that, at least. Damn. I wish I had a neighbor like that or something like that. Something in that manner. It was currently 7:20 AM, 20 minutes past 7. Kasumi and I sat at the table about to get started on rice, grilled fish, and miso soup that she had made. Truly a Japanese breakfast if I had ever seen. It was about 30 minutes from our apartment complex to the school, so right now we could afford to spend 10 minutes eating, 10 minutes cleaning up, and 10 minutes getting ready. What? Right, I try to somehow solve what she might have said, but I don't know.
Huh?
Yeah, exactly. Right, now she said, I understand that, kind of. But the other part, Earlier, not at all. Kasumi took a sip of tea, washing down the rice that had been stuck in her mouth. Had anyone ever told this girl the first thing about manners?
制服クリーニングしといたからね。
Okay, I would never have guessed that that's what she said there. If memory served, it had been covered in blood and dust in addition to being ripped up all over. Our uniforms were made from white cloth, so it would have been hard to miss.
クリーニングでよく片付いたな。新しいの買おうかと思ってたのに。
そう言うだろうと思って注文もしといたけど、なんか少し時間がかかるって言われたから。新品が来るまでちょっとみっともないけど、これで我慢しなさいね。
Kasumi placed an folded uniform that had been lying next to her onto my lap. I opened it up to find that it had been patched together here and there.
何その顔。
いや、もしかしてこれ、お前が？
悪いかこの文句あるか？
文句は別にないけどさ。
While Kasumi's cooking was more or less edible, her swing skills left a lot to be desired.
まあ、ありがとう。あとは冬だし、ずっとコートでも着てりゃいいかな。
授業中も？それって校則違反じゃない？
固いこと言うなよ。病み上がりなんだ、俺は。
Let's use that excuse, right?
昨日は病人扱いするなって言ったくせに。
Hey, that's different. Kasumi shot me there, then proceeded to begin chewing down on the single taco on her plate.
辛い。
Well, of course it was.
っていうかお前、それ二人で分けるんじゃないのかよ。何一人で丸ごとトライしてるんだ。
やかましいわね。あたりは絶対やらない。これうちのお母さんがくれたんだからね。
And so she began nibbling on her taco without even using rice to soften its taste. Bad idea, huh?
辛いよ。
She looked like she was about to burst into tears.
お前頭大丈夫か？
大きなお世話です。バカ。
She turned her rough body away from me in her chair. She apparently had no further intention of speaking with me. Not that I really gave a shit. It would have been nice if she could stop mumbling stuff like, so spicy, but so good, while acting like that, for it was kind of creeping me out. Why? Since Kasumi had retreated into her own little world, I found myself without anything to do while we ate breakfast. I decided to check out what was on the news, which had been playing in the background this whole time. Unfortunately, there wasn't much that caught my interest, mostly just as usual about the weather and whatnot, and for an average citizen like myself, even the sensational news about corrupt politicians and celebrities caught having affairs wasn't really that exciting or relevant. Same, I guess. Since there was nothing interesting on TV, I decided to see if Kasumi had decided to stop acting like a child yet. But right when I was about to shift my focus back toward her...
され、死亡。
Hey? Whoa, hold the phone. What did I just say?
昨夜遅く、諏訪原市の公園で男性の他殺死体が発見され、同市警は殺人事件として捜査を。
Wait, had there really been a homicide in Suwahara?
現在のところ、通り魔的なものであるとの見解がなされており、それというのも被害者の頸部が切断されるという猟奇的な犯行であることから、凶器の断定はまだできていないとのことですが、おそらくは鋭利な刃物、日本刀、もしくはそれに類する刃渡り60センチ以上の刀剣であるという説が有力視されています。
Or you know, a guillotine somehow.
なお、被害者の男性は諏訪原市の会社員、生野健二さん24歳であり、死因は頸部の切断による。
Actually, that's a lot of details coming from the news. The first day after the thing happened? I stared transfixed at the news report as it elaborated on the details, but the sound of a blade shattering shook me out of my trance. Kasumi must have dropped it. Once One could hardly blame her for being surprised. Here we're eating breakfast as usual, and all of a sudden the news starts going on about the gruesomeness of a homicide. So Harsley Park, this site of the murder, was a place most residents were very familiar with as well. So Kasumi's reaction was very normal. The details of the incident, however, were far from normal. They said that the cause of death was decapitation. So in other words, his head was cut off. If there were no other wounds on the body, then the act must have been carried out swiftly. Maybe the culprit got the guy as they were walking by each other, or snuck up on him from behind, or they could have knocked the victim out first. I couldn't be sure of the exact date, but if the murder weapon was a sharp blade like the newscaster had said, it seems safe to say that the victim had been beheaded in one clean strike. You'd need a nice superhuman strength in order to pull something like that off. The culprit would have to be some sort of giant bodybuilder, and a guy like that working around the katana or something would definitely attract attention. Yet according to the newscaster, there were no reports of anyone suspicious in the area at around the time of the murder. So what? Had they set up a piano wire trap in advance or something? My hand shot to my neck. Here I was trying to come up with some realistic scenario to explain the murder. More accurately, I was trying to come up with an explanation that didn't involve that. I was trying to avoid thinking about the implement that one couldn't help but associate that with beheading. Yeah, exactly. I had seen it myself at the museum. Hell, I had even had a dream involving it the night before. Wait a second. Oh no, it was a park and you dreamt about a beach, right? I thought maybe like during sleep he was moved into the body of the other one. And you know, he basically experienced what the guy actually went through. The guillotine that had stood so imposingly amid the execution grounds in my dream. I could still remember it severing my head in vivid detail. I would woke up to find that someone really had been decapitated. Was it just coincidence, just something I could laugh off as not concerning me? After all, I had seen the same girl in both real life and my dream. It was already apparent that the boundary between the two was thinner than we thought. Who could prove that what happened in the dream couldn't also occur in reality? In other words, my dream had been... Hmm? Kasumi was right. It wasn't healthy to keep going down this unrealistic line of thought.
わかった。着替えるから部屋戻っててくれ。
別に照れなくてもいいのに。
うるさいな。それより。
はいはい。玄関使いでしょ。面倒だから嫌ですよ。とりあえず先に食器だけ片付けとくね。
Even our typical morning routine felt somehow strained.
ほら、もたもたしてない。さっさと行く。
But unlike me, Kasumi wasn't the type to keep mopping around forever. It was business as usual as she stood in front of the apartment harassing me.
もう、なんで男のあんたが私より準備に時間かかるのよ。あ、それともあれかな？もしかしてお化粧してたりしたのかな？
殴るぞ、お前は。
Did no one ever tell her that it was rude to make fun of other people's appearances?
そっちこそ少しはシャレっ気くらいつけろよな。いつも汗まみれで竹刀ばっかり振ってるから男じゃなくて女にモテ。
Well, I wouldn't say that. It's not really true. Really.
喧嘩売ってるわけ？
先に売ってきたのはお前だろうが。
何を？昔はそれがいいとか言ってたような気がするのに。
I'm okay with that.
気がするだけかよ。
I sure as hell never said that.
だいたいあんただって女の子にモテ。
なくても別にいい。特にお前には。
ちょっと何これ？ほんと可愛くないですよ。
だから可愛くなくていいんだよ。あと、これってなんだ？これは物か？
おうイエス。この牧石野郎。
Brain cells were going to start dying if I continued this conversation. I didn't feel like being late for school the day after I got back from being in the hospital, so I urged Kasumi along.
ほら、行くぞ。
はーい。って本当にコート着てきたんだね。まだそんなに寒くないのに。
今日は冷えるって言ってただろ。
そうだっけ？
They did, but I thought better of bringing up the news again.
俺、寒がりだしな。
And I'd rather people not see the patchwork pants I was wearing. I kept that last bit to myself, of course. We walked for a bit until we hit a crossroads. This junction was in the heart of the city, so you could say that all of the roads converged here and then split off again. The city was split neatly into blocks by the main streets, crossing here with the church and hospital on this side facing the mountains and the park and amusement park on this side facing the sea. As long as you started from here, it was impossible to get lost. I figured one might expect this sort of thing from a city known as a tourist destination like Subhara. No one would bother visiting it if it was impossible to make your way around. Of course, last night there had been a murder in the park on the seafront side of Subhara, favored by tourists. Not exactly the sort of thing that's good for business, and the police were probably already on the move looking for the killer. It would be best not to walk around at night for the next few weeks, in more ways than one.
レン、
Katsumi suddenly called out to me.
そっち方向違うよ。
は？
そっちはその。
Right, of course.
悪い。
The fastest way to reach school was to cut through the park, so I had instinctively started walking in that direction. Thank God Kasumi had got me. I had no intention of approaching a murder scene of my own volition.
久しぶりなんで道忘れたかも。よければ手とかは引いてくれると助かる。
Well, Kasumi, what are we going to do about that?
あのね。
Come on! You can really use that chance!
バカな冗談言ってると本当に置いてくからね。もう。
What if it wasn't a joke? No luck. I tried playing it off to lighten the mood, but all I managed to do was piss her off. Should have said that you were serious. In the end, though, Kasumi made sure I was following her the whole way to school. I said I should express my gratitude by offering her some important advice.
お前、先に教室入れ。
は？
だから俺のことはもういいよ。気にしないで、ほら、教室。
あんた何言ってんの？
わかんないかな。お前鈍いよ。
Maybe I couldn't really complain about Kasumi being so open, but at times I wish she was a little more perceptive. I don't know, it didn't even occur to her on the way here. Sometimes I just wasn't sure about this girl.
今俺と一緒に教室入ると、お前変な目で見られるぞ。
なんで？
なんでも何も。
I was already enough of an outcast to begin with, and now here I was, coming back to school after spending 2 months in the hospital because I had gotten in a huge fight with a classmate. It wasn't hard to predict what sort of response I would get.
そんなのと仲良くして変な噂立てられたくなかったら、ここは当たらず触らず。って。
Maybe I shouldn't have said that. Kasumi was the sort of person with a strong sense of justice, a rarity in this day and age.
ムカつくな。私そういう考え大嫌い。ほらレン、一緒に行くよ。
Let's go! She grabbed my arm and started dragging me with her.
頼む！
She might have managed to make a nice entrance, emphatically swinging the rope and all, but things didn't go so well after that.
何かなこれ。
お前のテンションに引いてるってのが多分3割。
The other 70% went without saying. Fortunately for Kasumi, the world didn't care if one was in the right or not. My first day of school in 2 months was off to a stellar start. As I had expected, I didn't exactly blend in the classroom. I caught my classmate casting sideward glance at me more than a few times. Kasumi didn't know when to quit, so she kept trying to get me involved with things, but I would rather she had just left me alone. It wasn't like I was getting off on the idea of being some aloof loner or whatever, but I want to take things easy for the time being. A form of rehab, in a sense. It was only natural for people to be wary around someone who had been involved in a violent incident, so I couldn't get angry at my peers. In fact, if they had started acting all friendly instead, it would feel more likely they were afraid of me in some way, and that wouldn't really sit well with me. I had never had any friends except for Kasumi, Riro, and Himuro in the first place. Okay, we still haven't met Himura. Nothing wrong with things staying the way they were. So Kasumi didn't need to keep up these futile efforts?
早く飯でも食ってこいよ。
だからレンも一緒に行くの。
I had had the honor of being invited to lunch by my childhood friend, who just so happened to be a bit of a celebrity around school.
何が悲しくて一回も口聞いたことない女5人の集団に俺が混ざらなきゃならないんだよ。
それは誤解を解くために。
やめとけよ、バカらしい。
A group of girls, hell if I could remember any of their names, stood behind Kazumi, gazing at me suspiciously.
あれ、友達だろ。だったら嫌がらせみたいなことしてやるなって。
なんでよ、レンも私の友達じゃない。
そう言ってくれるのありがたいんだけどな。
Was she trying to argue that a friend of a friend was a friend too or something? Come on!
とにかくこういうのは最初が肝心なの。あんたもこれを機にマイナスイメージを払拭して。
And start making their life into something meaningful, blah blah blah. She just started going on with this stuff like she was straight out of some sort of after-school special. No, thank you.
ちょっとレン、聞いてるの？
Okay, I was seriously getting fed up here. Try to persuade her or run away. Should we run away? No, you know what? I'm not that type of person, right? I don't run away from my problems, kind of. Try to persuade her.
俺は別に周りの評判なんか気にしてないし。
私は気にするの？
Nope, 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 nope.
みんな何も知らないで勝手なことばっかり言ってんだから悔しいのよ、そういうの。だからってほら、ちゃんとこっち見る。
Kasumi grabbed my face from both sides. Clearly, I was getting off that easily. The idea of trying to persuade her had probably been doomed from the start.
な、俺はこれでも俺なりに。
何よ、なんか文句あるわけ？
Before I could respond with, of course, a fake new, my phone suddenly barged into the conversation with a beep.
嘘、レンにメールが来た。
来ちゃ悪いのかよ。ほら、話せ。
What sort of reaction was that? I thought Kasumi was supposed to be sticking up for me, not treating me like some outcast herself. I shook her off and looked at my phone screen.
どうしたの？
いや、悪いな、かすみ。
あ？
先約があったのを忘れてた。
ちょっと待ってよ。あ、こら、レン！
飯はまた今度誘ってくれよ。
I slipped past her and offered some parting remarks as I entered the hallway. I cast a glance to the side, only to find Kasumi's friends still staring at me, then need to conspicuously avert their eyes as soon as they noticed I was looking at them. Gee! See, it was just as I said. People's preconceived notions didn't go away that easily. And honestly, people weren't exactly mistaken in their perception of me, so trying to clear things up or whatever was a ridiculous idea to begin with. There was no need to expend a bunch of effort only to end up making things awkward for everyone involved. Like I was trying to tell her earlier, I did try to be considerate in my own way, since Kasumi had problems understanding the nuance of delicate situation like this. So I wasn't happy with her trying to give me a shit about it. Okay, I'm curious what with the call. So tell me who called you, texted you, or whatever. Congratulations on getting out of school. Out of the school. Of course. Out of the hospital. School was lonely without you. How are you feeling? There's some things I'd like to talk about, so I'll be waiting on the roof. By the way, no one else is around. Just the two of us. Just the two of us? Just me and Fuji? Who? Who the hell is Fuji? Hurry up. Hurry on up, Himura! Oh. What was I supposed to say to this? Looked like she hadn't changed a bit. I wasn't sure whether I should have heaved alongside or start laughing. As senior, surely she had something better to do than messing with her underclassmen. I really couldn't figure that part of her out. Like, true, I couldn't picture her getting stressed out over college entrance exams or job hunting, so maybe that sort of carefree approach did suit her. But let's just say that she took things too far. Well, anyway, the roof, huh? It would be a little rude to just turn down her offer, and besides, I was looking for a way to give Kasumi the slip anyway. I climbed up the stairs and threw open the door to the roof. It was December. To put it simply, the roof was murderously cold at this time of the year. Before I had taken my 2-month leave of absence, there were still plenty of students eating up here every day, but obviously no one was crazy enough to. Oh yeah, I guess there was someone crazy enough to keep using the roof. I heaved a sigh as I searched for her. There she was, sitting on a bench by the fence and munching on a sandwich. Might she pick the coldest spot on the entire roof to sit anyway?
Senpai?
I didn't get a response, so I went ahead and sat down. Hello! Is she, like, the quiet type? I had been sitting next to her for nearly 10 seconds now, but she hadn't even looked in my direction, let alone tried to strike up a conversation. She didn't fall asleep, right? Well, her eyes are open, so...
Senpai? は?
寒い。凍った。温めて。
Well, that's interesting. For a moment, I considered just getting up and leaving. This was Rahimura, the senior who happened to be one of my few friends.
それ、暖かそうね、藤井くん。貸してくれると、私嬉しい。
Sure.
っていうか、むしろ貸せばか。
Wow! This was about what you could expect from her.
正直、ちょっと甘く見てた。天気予報もなかなかやるね。
And here I thought she might be the quiet type.
それで藤井くん。私とても寒いんだけど、優しさ、見せてはくれないの？
You know what, I like her.
どうでしょうね。
For all her claims that she was freezing, she wasn't shivering one bit, and her expression seemed more or less normal. I couldn't be sure of her intent, but she wasn't eyeing my coat. That stare of hers was colder than any weather. I wouldn't say so.
ちゃんと後で返すなら。
Thanks to Kasumi's swing job, my uniform underneath was looking more than a little fancy, but I didn't feel like getting into some sort of war of endurance. I stood up and took off my coat.
なんだったら、二人で着る？こう、仲良く肩寄せ合って。
God damn it, I like her!
遠慮しときますよ。
What is wrong with you? I made my stance clear and stuck the coat on her.
暖かい。藤井くんは優しいね。
Thank you. I would do the same thing.
そっちはどう？寒くない？
For no, I would go with the cuddling option, that's true.
暖かいって言ったら嘘ですね。
じゃあ遠慮しないで。ほら、入りなさい。
Go for it, damn it! No, wait, can we? I mean, Kasumi. I like Kasumi, but I like Rhea too. God damn it! Game, why did you do that to me? He flapped the hem of the coat, gesturing for me to join her. Did you just want to screw me like this all day long?
で、俺と何を話したいんです？
さりげなく無視するのね。まあいいけど。まずは退院おめでとう。綾瀬さんにはもう言われた？
おかげさまで、昨日しっかり。
じゃあ、 デートした？
おかげさまで、そこそこしっかり。
そう。よかった。
Exactly what part of the head was good was completely lost on me.
まあ、これでも食べなさい。
She offered me an egg sandwich. What was I, a dog, being rewarded for a trick?
しっかり食べないと大きくならない。苦労するよ、いろいろと。健全な精神は健全な体に宿るらしいし、早く真人間になりなさいね。
She was really laying it on today. Apparently I didn't even qualify as a real human being. Sorry, but I felt confident I was better at this whole human thing than she was at least.
何？
いや、別に。
思ったことは言いなさいよ。そんなだから喧嘩になる。ユサくんともどうせそうでしょ？食べてる？
一応。
I opened up the egg sandwich and gave it a few bites, offering a flippant reply in the process.
話したいことってのはそれですか？
そうって言ったら帰っちゃう？
微妙ですね。
I knew that wasn't a great answer, but I gazed up at the sky. Why was everyone trying to lecture me like this as soon as I got out of the hospital? What was I did really that worrying? Like, okay, I was sure most people consider my scuffle with Shiro to be far more than a mere fight, but it wasn't like I had been singled out for violence by a group or anything. I could understand people who I wasn't particularly friendly with going out of their way to avoid me or getting an earful from Kasumi, but I never expected Himura of all people to go at it too.
先輩に説教ってのは似合いませんね。そっち系は霞だけで足りてますよ。あいつが2人もいたらマジで胃に穴が開く。
Hell, the main reason I came up here was to get away from her bitching.
苦労人だね。
おかげさまでね。
I dropped my shoulders and sighed. Himura resumed eating her sandwich as if nothing had ever happened. I guess that was about what I expected from Himura. If I had to try to describe her, she was like a ghost. She possessed a certain indefinite nature, like she wasn't concerned with the events of the world around her. At the same time, she would occasionally act up, as seen earlier. The way she kind of kept her distance was similar to my own position on things, so I did get along with her better than I did Kasumi. That's why the two of us had managed to become friends.
さっきのはちょっと綾瀬さんの真似してみたの。君、めんどくさそうな顔しながらまんざらでもなさそうだし、そういうのが好きなのかなって一度試してみたかったから。
Interesting.
でも似合わないならやめようかな。そんなに私変だった？
Maybe a bit.
そりゃあね、だいぶ。
How were you supposed to react when the person lecturing you seemed like they were talking to thin air?
で、本当のところは何のようです？まさか霞のモノマネしたかっただけでもないでしょう。いや、下手したらあり得るけど。
うん。まあ用ってほどじゃないんだけど、聞きたいことが一つだけ。
She cast me a sideward glance, her tone as flat as ever.
君とユサくん、どっちが勝ったの？結構話題になってるのよね。月額最強決定戦。今のところ64でユサくん有利。でも復学してきたのは君だけだから、そのあたり揺れてるね。どうなの実際。
I didn't think Himura of her type to get in on fights like this. Who won, me or Shiro? Well, if you took that to mean, who was stronger then?
俺ですよ。
本当に？
嘘ついてるとでも？
さ、ただユサくんに聞いても同じことを言いそうだから。
Yeah, he might have. No scratch. Scratch that, he definitely would have.
怖い顔。やだね。これだから男の子は。勝ったの負けたの。そういうのがそんなに大事？肩こらないかな。プレッシャーだよ。
聞いてきたのは先輩でしょうに。
そうだけど。そうだった。ごめんなさい。じゃあ、質問を変えようか。どうしてユサ君と喧嘩したの？
Well,
答えたくない？
そうですね。
it wasn't something I was willing to discuss with others. Humor was the one who had found Shiro and me passed out. I'm here and called an ambulance for us, so in that sense I was indebted to her, but that didn't really apply to this. Humor side.
まあ、三角関係のもつれとか、そういうお手軽いネタじゃないのは察するけどね。君とユサ君、そんなジャンルのキャラじゃないし。綾瀬さんモテそうに見えないし。
Be glad that she didn't hear that. She didn't exactly mince words with that one. I figured it would be best not to argue for sure that I weren't out to get into fights for wholesome reason like that. And indeed, Kasumi wasn't popular, at least not with us.
そんな君たちが、なんでか友達だったのが不幸の始まりだったのかな。実は私、前からこうなるような気がしてたよ。だから、神様は性格悪いなって思ってた。今度一発、君の代わりに殴っとこうか。遠慮しないで、善意だから。
そりゃどうも。
Not exactly the sort of thing someone who lives in a church should be saying, but I didn't exactly feel obliged to stop her. Obligated to stop her, sorry. If she wanted to punch out Jesus, then she could be my guest, as long as I wasn't the one receiving divine punishment over it anyway.
だいたい、君に喧嘩なんて似合わないよ。怪我とかしたら、みんな悲しむ。うちのシスターなんて、きっとそっとするんじゃないかな。
シスター？
You mean the nun at the church? I'd only met her a few times before, but she was really something else. To say that she had model-like proportions would be an understatement. What a waste! To put it simply, someone like her working as a nun was a great loss to the world. I wouldn't mind giving Jesus a sucker punch or two myself over that one.
名前何でしたっけ？
シスターリザ。青い瞳のボインボイン F。
That's a lot of information, thank you. Alright, I wonder if we'll meet her.
ちなみに私は B カップ。
That's also a lot of information. TMI.
そのうち大きくなるかもしれない。
Well, whatever. Remember, it's not the most important factor. I kept quiet, there was no sense in crushing her dreams.
で、その F カップさんは元気ですか？
B カップは興味ないの？
それはとりあえずノーコメントで。
I rolled up the working paper for the exam which I had been digging and tossed it to the pocket of the coat Himura was wearing. Not missing a beat, she proceeded to hand me a tomato sandwich.
彼女、今寝込んでるよ。お見舞い来る？
風邪ですか？
そうじゃなくて。
She took out another sandwich. Where the hell was she keeping all of these sandwiches anyway? I don't know. In that bag? I think she has a bag on the right hand, right? Around her right hand. I might be not correct because there is the text box, but I think there is something like that. And then, with the same unworried blank expression on her face, she dropped a bombshell.
殺人事件、見ちゃったから。ニュース見てない？公園で殺人事件。首バッサリ、血がドバー。怖いね。私も食欲なくなるよ。
She said, happily chowing down tomato sandwich. Whatever that was later here.
見たって、つまり犯人を？
そっちじゃなくて、やられた方。つまりその、
死体を？
第一発見者。私もね。
Hey? She nodded casually. If this was true, we were talking about some serious shit. It was the sort of thing that could traumatize someone for life.
おかげで私、一晩中警察で事情聴取。リザはあんなだから先に返しておいたけど、大丈夫かな？ちょっと心配。
それより、先輩は平気なのか？
私は寝不足なだけ。カツ丼くれるかなと思ったけど、あれってドラマの中だけなんだね。がっかりしたよ。
Nerve of Steel, huh?
どうしたの藤井くん。変な顔して。
She was the weird one here. I mean, I had always thought she was in love, but...
もしかして本当に話したかったのはそれなんですか？
どうかな。話の流れで思い出したから言ったんだけど、もしかしたらそうかもしれない。容疑者扱いされてショックだったし、ちょっと愚痴ってみたかったのかも。ねえ私、愚痴っていいかな？
まあいいですけど。
A murder case. There were few topics less suitable for mealtime. Honestly, it wasn't really something I wanted to hear about either. Unfortunately, I couldn't avoid feeling curious about the matter. Okay, so far, 2 meals, and twice we hear about the beheading. Well, so I guess if we have a meal in the game, we can expect something like that again, huh? I guess. Okay, I couldn't seem to read myself thoughts about the dream. I decided to go ahead and listen to what Himuro had to say.
11時過ぎだったかな。あそこの夜景が好きだから、よくリザと見に行くの。いつもはカップルばっかりで、たまに時間とか出るんだけど、昨日はなぜか誰もいなくて。
Okay, that molester part kind of annoys me. I mean, scares me, and please don't go there.
思えば嫌な感じがしてたんだよね。寒いのに生暖かいっていうか、ちょっと変な雰囲気で。あの時に帰らなかったのは失敗だったよ。後悔してる。
Himuro began her story, an uncharacteristic hint of self-derision in her voice. The park she was talking about wasn't the sort of place housewives took their kids to. It was a seaside park that offered a view of the opposite shore and its various attractions, like the Sky High Tower, the amusement park, shopping mall, resort hotel, and so on. As such, it was generally utilized as a date spot, teeming with people late into the night. It would seem that was not the case last night, however.
橋のたもとあるじゃない。ほら、よく君とユサくんがバイクで遊んでたところ。あそこって不意に暗くなるんだよね。地元の人間でもあまり知らないような場所。街の死角っていうのかな。とにかく現場はそこだった。最初に気づいたのはリザの方。彼女が言うにはスプレーかと思ったらしいよ。落書き結構多いから。でも実際はそうじゃなくて。
A wall dyed in red paint. A sticky gelatin started to fall smelling.
私の第一印象はコルク抜いたばかりのシャンパンかな。線が外れちゃってるっていう感じで。少し離れたところに転がってたよ。こうゴロンと。首って結構飛ぶんだね。それに血もいっぱい出るんだ。驚いた。
Well, you have vines in the neck, right? And pretty sure there might be some artery, so there obviously will be a lot of blood. Blood made up about 8 to 10% of a person's total weight. For an adult male, that would have meant around 5 to 6 liters. It was no stretch to say that they had come across a literal sea of blood.
よく失神とかしなかったですね。
女の方が血に耐性があるんだよ。あといざという時の度胸もね。
I wouldn't say that. I mean, I don't really have problems with handling the blood.
とにかくそのまま帰るわけにもいかないから 警察に電話して家まで送ってもらおうと思ったんだけど。
It wasn't that easy.
任意同行を求められて朝まで事情聴取ですか。
そう。失礼しちゃうね。丸腰の女二人にあんなことができるわけないのにさ。
Well, she meant cleaving off someone's head in an instant like that, according to the news.
日本刀かそういう感じの刃物なんじゃないかって。
そうらしいね。だから今、博物館を調べてるんじゃないのかな。何か、なくなった展示品がありはしないか。もしくは、どれかに血痕があったりするんじゃないのか。
And they won't be able to find it. Right? I wanted to laugh that idea off, but the circumstances made it difficult.
その推理、ちょっと漫画的な気がしますけど。
でも、同じ町にあれだけ凶器を置いてるところがあるんだし、無視するわけにもいかないんじゃないのかな。
And there's one that no one notices. She had a point.
そのあたり、藤井君はどう思う？昼間あそこに行ったんでしょ？
Yeah, thanks.
どうって。
何か思い当たることはなかったの？例えば、伝説の妖刀がこっそり紛れてそうな雰囲気とか。
Even overlooking the ridiculous example, I couldn't tell if she was being serious or not.
藤井君？
いえ、特には。
そう、ちょっと残念。
However, her disinterested tone was at odds with her words. Humorous meeting as you look up to the sky. A grisly decapitation. This was the sort of abnormal, gruesome event that would give you goosebumps just thinking about it. Anyone living in Suhar must have been scared out of their wits. After all, murders this bizarre rarely ended with just one victim. For all we knew, another body could turn up tonight. And I might have been involved.
実際、みんな落ち着かない感じだね。きっとしばらく部活とかは中止になるよ。早く家に帰りなさいって。もし周りの子たちが藤井君を過剰に怖がってるような感じなら、それはきっとそういう理由もあるんだよ。
俺は別にそんなことはどうでも。
そうなの？じゃあどうして元気ないかな。おかしいね。ああ、もしかして綾瀬さんと喧嘩でもした？
違いますよ。
嘘ばっかり。
She threw the coat she had been wearing over my head.
ダメだよ。好きな子には優しくしないと。物騒なんだし、君が守ってあげなくちゃ。じゃあね、藤井くん。コートありがとう。あと、話聞いてくれてありがとう。本当は、私も少し怖かったから、おかげで気が紛れたよ。
I seriously like her. She's like, well, you know, awesome. But Kasumi, I want to freaking be with Kasumi, at least on the first attempt to the game. Timur gave me a rare grin. She seemed just a little embarrassed. If she acted like this all the time, she'd establish a fan base in no time. Well, that aside.
俺の好きな女とか勝手に決めないでくれますか？俺は別に霞なんか。
はい。それも嘘。とにかく、いい加減裏に回る癖を直しなさい。もうユサ君はいないんだから。じゃあね。
With that, Himuro left the room behind. I heaved a sigh. In the end, I was just lectured the whole time. I was kind of miffed. It was cold as hell on the roof, but I had lost the will to return to class, so I decided just skip. Even though I shouldn't. Anywho. When he's skipping, let's end the episode. And we'll continue on from the next one. I think he took a nap or something. We'll see about that. For now, hope you enjoyed. Hope to see you tomorrow. Bye bye.